Regardless of one's viewpoint on it, I welcome the publication of the final report of the Commission of Investigation into Mother and Baby Homes. I want to put it on record of the Seanad here today that the stories of the victims and the survivors behind this report are going to be locked away for 30 years, away from the public eye. This conflicts with the Government and Fianna Fail's illusion of transparency. Only the victims will have access to their own stories, and should they wish to share it with the public, the onus is entirely upon them. The publication of the report is at least a step towards unveiling the dark secrets of our past, the past of our families, our society, our nation, our state and the Church. Clearly, much cruelty was inflicted on the thousands of vulnerable women and children in these institutions. I was horrified by the revelation that the infant mortality rate in the institution was rampant, about twice that of those outside the system. We must reach out to survivors and provide every assistance and support possible. As I stated before, we must help the people to heal, help people rebuild their lives and make reparation for the harm suffered. I will be keeping a close eye on the promises the Government are making regarding redress and holding them accountable. Immediate, free, accessible and comprehensive healthcare is a minimum that must be provided. This should be holistic and cover any physical, mental or emotional need. Reflecting on the lives of the 9,000 women and children that died in these homes in such sad circumstances, I would like to propose a national day of remembrance for them, perhaps next year on the first day of spring. We commemorate the lives of soldiers that die for the nation and the state. Is it fitting then that we should also commemorate the lives of the vulnerable that died, and indeed those that suffered because of the neglect of this nation and the state? Regrettably, it appears that the handling of the investigation and the subsequent reporting process is opening up the wounds to the survivors and betraying their trust. There are many issues that need to be urgently addressed regarding the way in which the Commission is treating survivors and witnesses with their sensitive testimonies to the Commission. The deletion of the recording of the lived experience of survivors is quite frankly appalling, insensitive and potentially illegal. I have been personally contacted by survivors and witnesses to say that they were not informed that the Commission would destroy the recording of their testimony. Siobhan, a mother of two different mother and baby homes, has told me this. This raises huge questions about the lawfulness and transparency of the process. As the Data Protection Commission states, any processing of personal data should be lawful and fair. It should be transparent to the individuals that their personal data concerning them that is collected, used and consulted or otherwise processed, and to what extent their personal data are or will be processed. The principle of transparency requires that any information and communication relating to the processing of those personal data be easily accessible and easy to understand, and that clear and plain language be used. Siobhan was also refused a copy of the tape of her interview when she requested it. Is it not a breach of fundamental rights to access her own data? She has made a request on the 22nd of January 2020. To date, she has not received any reply on none of her personal data. Why not? She has complained about the handling of her recording, the breach of her rights under GDPR and the alleged misrepresentation of her testimony. This is another matter, the disrespectful treatment of the stories told by people. The stories of people were not transcribed verbatim. Rather, they were summarised, butchered, one could say. We should be putting more value on the word and experience of survivors than just distilling them down to relegating them to a mere footnote in a report. This claim also raises another legal issue under GDPR about the accuracy of the personal data of survivors processed by the Commission. Siobhan has told me that the Commission has not contacted her to remedy her complaint, as they have been asked to do by the Data Protection Commission. Siobhan understandably posed the question, if the Commission is dissolved on the 28th of February as intended, does her complaint perish with it? Will her rights be vindicated? Is the Commission of Investigation answerable, or are they above the law? There are grave questions regarding the nature and quality of the consent obtained from witnesses and survivors by the Commission and its confidential committee. These must be answered definitively before the Commission is dissolved. I am calling on the Commission to contact in writing every single person that placed their trust in them and in the state, a state that has so often failed and abused them in the past. The Commission need to obtain explicit, informed consent to destroy or retain records of witnesses and survivors. They must obtain explicit and informed consent if they are to hand over them to TUSLA. Many of the witnesses have not been given a copy of the report, as you promised they would. I understand a number of the councils have been issued apologies, but there has been no copies of the report made available through their library service. Minister, you promised the survivors a copy of the report, and they must not be left wanting or waiting for that. You cannot, in good faith, dissolve the Commission without accountability to the victims and survivors. Thank you. I'm sorry for going over time.
Thank you, Senator Keogan. I'm now calling on